Hello and welcome to Mindset Kitchen. Today I have a huge pleasure of having a wonderful guest with me today, Azania Stewart. Hello, Azania.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. And cheers to Mindset Kitchen. Thank you for having me.
Cheers to you too. It's such a pleasure to have you over here.
Thank you.
So Azania is actually a retired basketball player for Great Britain women's national basketball team. She was also part of the squad for 2012 Summer Olympics. It gives me goosebumps actually thinking. I do remember I lived in Hackney at the time when they were building everything for Olympics. So you were part of that.
Yeah, big team, huge, and a massive moment in my career and my life. And to be able to play in my hometown in London for my family, my friends to see me and support me. So it's been a journey, and now obviously I'm retired, but a great honour, and basketball is back on its way up, so really excited to see where it's going.
So how did we do in basketball in Olympics?
Excuse
my ignorance.
We didn't medal, but we did really well. We lost to the silver medalist, who was France, by 3 in overtime. I did medal in the Commonwealth Games, silver in 2018. Wow. So yeah, but played all in all 20 years of basketball. It's showing my age.
Wow.
We're young,
it's
wild
not,
and free.
It's not at all.
Yeah, so really loved it, and obviously now transitioning into commentating basketball, so still in the game and still able to really enjoy it and still get the love from it.
And Azania, you actually went to Paris Olympics as well.
I did.
What was your role in there?
Yeah, so I commentated for the Olympic broadcast service, and so that was incredible. I commentated 3x3, which is the new half-court kind of street basketball. It's its second Olympics. From Tokyo was its first, and then I also did basketball 5-on-5, which was so exciting and was able to be a massive part of history. So like I said, still giving me the buzz, the love, the adrenaline hit of when I used to play and now I don't. So when people ask me like, do you miss it? I'm like, no, because I'm still able to be around it and around the culture and the game that is changing. I'm still involved with it a lot.
That sounds absolutely fascinating. I've never been in any games, but we tried to watch it. For some reason, you had to pay for if you wanted to watch through the day, I think, and all that. But we had different options of watching different games, and I try to imagine the feeling in the field, and I guess you are watching it from some sort of commentator's box, if I'm right, and you have both perspectives now, the game, the players, and the
and I think that's what the audience likes to hear as well. You know, you do like to hear the kind of reporter aspect of it, but you also like to hear somebody who's been there firsthand, who's able to talk from experience, and and that's what I love to do. I also do lead, which is play by play, but also I do the kind of color analysis, and I really enjoy that too because I can bring my experience. In Paris was an excellent opportunity. Not only have I competed in an Olympics, and now I've commentated, so that kind of magic together was sensational.
I feel a little bit of it.
Yeah, is it coming through?
a little bit.
Or
I'm so grateful.
Or is it my margarita? I don't know.
Margarita. So we'll tell the audience very soon what's going on here, and that margarita is in Azania's hand. But I've actually went and met Azania, approached her at one of the summits of Members Club that we both part of, and I looked up all the guests that were going to the summit, and I could not miss her because she was towering everyone. You looked sensational with your high heels, long legs, and I was like, wait a minute, let me just look at my phone. Yeah, that's her. You can't even miss her because she's probably been, you have been probably the tallest person.
Well, I'm 6'4" and I had high heels on, so I'm like 6'8", so I'm the tallest in every room, but yeah.
I have something about tall people. I absolutely love tall people. I don't know, they portray so much confidence. The tallness really attracts me. So when I approached you, I remember, because I wore my flat shoes as well. Hi, Azania. And you were very surprised that I know you, but I
Yes.
know you from just Googling and understanding who you are. And I was like, I need to get her. So I was like, ooh, she's there. So I'm just kind of like making my way slowly next to her. And you were right next to macaroons and enjoying them. And I love macaroons. So I was like, that's a perfect spot for me to connect with this lady. Yeah.
Amazing.
So thank you so much for sharing a little bit of your story.
No,
and
you're
your
welcome.
mindset messages really do reflect, I think, your journey, which I know quite just a little bit. So hopefully these messages will bring out a bit more of your experience, which is absolutely amazing. Your past 20 years and what you do now. I just overheard you talking with my the guy who sets up the camera, what you're doing now, and it's giving me also goosebumps because it's such a great cause. So I hope you will share that part as well. When I asked Azania what she would like me to cook for her, she's chosen tacos, and I was over the moon because I've already made once tacos on the show, but it was vegan tacos, and she gave me an opportunity to explore. So much that I'm actually introducing Tuesday tacos.
Taco Tuesday,
Taco Tuesday, yeah, that's the other way around. Because I absolutely love it, because I love nutritious, healthy food, satisfying, and the food that was cooked with love. And there is so many variations. So I thought of chicken and fish, and I actually once spotted you were on holiday, maybe in some Caribbean island where you've been having fish tacos or something like that. I cannot recall. So I thought, okay, let me just give something else. So I decided to make for Azania beef tacos, which I've cooked yesterday for maybe around 10 hours in a slow cook.
Which is love. You've made that with love.
Thank you so much for recognizing that.
I really appreciate that. That's
yesterday
I had love.
I had pots up to here.
That's made with love. So thank you. I really appreciate that.
I appreciate for your kind words. And I did put so much love because I kind of like, not superficial way, I kind of love my guests because I love to connect with them, and I love them to understand that I want to give and show love to you by you being here and sharing your story.
Yeah,
which
and through
actually
the food.
Through the food.
Yeah.
It's because I want, if you were here not on the filming capacity and I was inviting you, you would get the same treatment. Amazing. You know, it would be like, food, come over. So hopefully you come back here. That's a hint. Anyway, and so decided to cook the beef, and it's called birria tacos. So I didn't do the most traditional way, and you know what, I was listening to my intuition just in case Azania doesn't like spicy, so I avoided all the chili, 3 types of chili that this recipe required. I avoided them, and I used chipotle to just kind of smooth up the flavor, and I thought if she likes spicy, I'll add different peppers in it, freshly made. And then I also made cauliflower. So this morning I roasted cauliflower in my air fryer, which is actually a Romanesco cauliflower. So it's got a bit of a kind of green looking between broccoli and cauliflower. I roasted with loads of different spices.
Nice.
I will put those on the website because it's a long list. It would take forever to do that. And I will do 2 different tacos. One fried taco dipped in birria sauce with the cheese and sour cream on the side. And the other one is cauliflower, which is cold, served cold, but with various salads, a bit of freshness, and a little, it's got peppers, onions, tomatoes in there. It has chipotle pepper, which has been cooked for many hours, and it just gives this kind of freshness and lightness to tacos itself. And margarita as well. And love margarita. Actually, tequila is one of the really nice drinks to drink if you want a clean drink. It has tequila, triple sec, and lime. There is not even actual sugar when you do the other one, mojitos.
Yeah,
it's loads of sugar.
This is my favorite drink. Yeah,
Likewise.
I really like it. And also, if you are worried about like the calories of drinking, it's not as sugary, like you said, and it's smooth.
It's smooth, and it's easy drinkable, and I hopefully.
And you've made this very well.
Yes, thank you so much.
Very well.
I always have an issue with
cocktails. I'm having a great time. I'm being looked after.
Perfect. By the way, there is a bit more. So before we get into Azania's mindset message, I'm going to top up with that. There you go.
Appreciate that.
So I'll take a little bit of a moment away from cooking, and I'm going to read the first message and ask you to just share your experience about it. Sharing stories and life experiences are key to life. I almost told the message already before even telling it.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, I chose that, talking about sharing stories and moments. And I think that even this, you know, mindful kitchen and a mindset kitchen of being able to express and tell stories. And this is how they did it in the old days. You know, you sat around and you discussed. And I think where for me, where I've learned the most, and even like, you know, where we went to that summit and the networking and being able to tell your experience and to explain that, because some people, you know, haven't been to an Olympic Games and what that takes and what the, you know, commitment, the sacrifice, and to be able to sit with somebody or to explain and tell those stories, you can, you know, vicariously live through it or understand it, or, you know, get a glimpse of what it takes to be an elite athlete or anything. And the same, I'm not a mother, you know, so I could speak to you about, you know, your family, and you tell me the struggles or the great times. And I really do think we can study and we can look up things and we can Google, but you can really get the essence and the love that we've spoken through food, through stories, and that's really like what's so important to me, being able to explain my experience, but then also to exchange stories.
And I want to say thank you so much for doing that. I have only started sharing my story perhaps 4 years ago, when the big change happened in my life. But I started sharing slowly, bits by bits, and people were saying, oh, I didn't know that about you. That's really inspiring. How did you do that? Oh, so then somebody would text me, I've listened to you, actually, I did something.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait a minute. So actually sharing
is
has
important.
that impact.
Yeah, it does.
Little one for one person's life, but then that one person will do that impact to someone else.
Yes.
And I just thought, oh, well, it's happened to me. I did that. So why do I have to talk about it? But my mindset is completely changed now when I start sharing and seeing how helpful it is to so many people, and sharing not just amazing bit, but sharing the struggles which you have to go through. And it's the bigger part.
Yeah, the struggles I always call, in basketball, we call them like wins and losses, right? So the L's. But really, recently, I've turned the L's into lessons. So they're never a loss. They're always a lesson. What did I learn from that disappointment? What did I learn from that loss? What did I learn now I can move on and feel great about, or, you know, or not repeat that loss? So for me, it's that sharing. It's what did you do well? What did you hate? So then I can not have to take the L, which you've already taken, and then you tell me and I go, okay, I understand that now. And that's what I really appreciate. And especially with women, you know, I think we're the queens of the world, and obviously it's men dominated, but really we are strong. We are able to cope, manage, juggle lots of plates, and that's what I really respect. And especially in the sporting world as well, that you're able, you know, if you just look at Serena Williams, for instance, you know, she played when she was pregnant. There was a lady who was fencing this Paris Olympics who was quite far pregnant and was able, you know, that's strength. And that's where you can draw your energy from, of like, okay, if she can do it, like I can too, or we discuss it. So yeah, that's where it's so important to share these stories and these moments.
I like that you brought out the women aspect, because and then you said we can juggle a lot, because we can. And I think we were not showing that we're juggling a lot for many years.
Yeah.
So me, you, and many other women, we now slowly showing how much we can do. And
appreciate.
Appreciate, exactly. I'm, you know, for women, I'm just buzzing. And when I have a woman on my show, it's kind of like the energy is double. Everything it's heightened. And because I'm more excited about it.
Yeah.
And I want, and even the women, sometimes women come here, let's say they did not necessarily share the story yet. And they're starting to share more and more, and then they go back and reflect, actually, I've never said that openly, out loud. And I appreciate that. So keep sharing your story. And if I was to just put you on the spot, because obviously this is not rehearsed or scripted, if I was to put you on the spot, what would be the kind of life-changing moment in your career that happened to you?
That's a good question. I think maybe I retired in 2018, where I, went down the road of being married, wanting to start a family, and then the pandemic hit, and I came out of retirement and started playing basketball again. And I kind of lost my identity, and obviously many years was around. I was an athlete, I was a basketball player, and then I was becoming this wife and who I wanted to be after. And I think a lot of, not only athletes but just women in general, kind of put this pressure on that you're 30 and you should have your ish together, but I really don't think so. I think we put this societal kind of pressure on us, where really every person's journey is different. And so I was able to come out of basketball and come back and play, and it gave me purpose again, and it gave me a real journey focus goal, and it really changed me, and it taught me so many lessons, where in my 20s I was learning kind of new boundaries, what I wanted, new goals, and then in my 30s it was like, okay, there's more to life than basketball. What is that? That's my relationships, that's my friendships, that's my family. And that coming out of retirement in my 30s, and I'm 35 now.
Oh,
thank you. I don't look it.
I'm a little bit shocked anyway. You're referring to 30s in the first place.
And in my 30s, I learned all these different lessons, and obviously time and you're able to learn loads of new things. But that was it. I think coming out, playing basketball again, coming out of retirement, and then learning this new love for the game, but also myself. And I think that was a big, epic or pinnacle moment in my womanhood, but also in my career as a basketball player and now a commentator.
That's a great example. I can relate a little bit as well, because if someone asked me that question, there would be quite a few, and you would want to go back to different stages in your life and different moments. And I think for me was quitting the job and being a mom and creating something from scratch. It was scary, exciting, and a really big part of my life, where I now have that chapter to always refer to, and quite a few lessons to go back onto it and share with the world.
Well, I think especially being a woman, there's so many different moments, right? It's like you hit puberty and then you're figuring it out, and then you hit this womanhood and you're like, oh, okay, and you're sexy and you feel good.
You got that still.
Yeah, thank you. And then you have, you go through being your pregnancy and your post, having the baby, and then as an older woman, the menopause and the things that we don't talk about. So it's like you finally get a grip and a hold of this is my new me, and then you kind of hit rock bottom again, and you're like, okay, I'm trying to find myself again, and then you find yourself again, and it's way more up and down for us as a woman, with hormones and childhood and childbearing and motherhood and being a good daughter, being a good mother. And so it's like you finally get this understanding, and then you're like, okay, what's this new one? And then, menopause hits. And I think I've spoken about this before, and just it is this beautiful wave of figuring yourself out, but it's you are this different person. And like you said, you take this break of, okay, I'm just going to commit to motherhood, or I'm just going to commit to being a wife, or going to commit to be an athlete. And then there's a different moment where you're like, okay, she's done, we can put her on the shelf, and we have that experience, but now I need to not carnate, but just what's the next Azania, or, the next yourself. So, yeah.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that especially openly, all about the kind of stages that we do go through. And I would love to talk more and more about it. So I'm really grateful that you brought that bit in there as well. So I know you're really hungry.
Yes.
You did not have breakfast, and it's a lot of pressure on me. But then also, when people are hungry, they tend to really enjoy the food, no matter how it tastes.
Yes. No, but it looks made with love. So like I said, I can't wait. Okay.
So
what do we do first?
We're going to be cooking, because there are moments where I cook and I serve the guests towards the end. But I will serve Azania first beef piranha tacos now, and then as I go, I'll keep on giving a few more, because I can eat at least 4 or 5 of these. So don't be shy. Let's go for it.
Okay.
And whilst I am preparing your tacos, the first taco, I'm going to read you a second message so you can start talking about it. The power of knowing your strength and bringing them to the table. So please bring them to your
My
table.
strength. Okay. As I eat guacamole, first of all,
Please help yourself.
has made
And
sensational guacamole.
I'm
Thank
so
you.
happy.
I'm
Thank you.
so food is my happiness, and I didn't realize, but now I do. Okay. The question is, the strength is your power. Okay. And bringing it to the table. Well, first of all, this is a fantastic dinner table and a lovely kitchen. And I think we've kind of touched on it already about, you know, the different things that you go through in life, and being able to share the stories, and I think that's what I love, and that's where I can relate to a lot of people, not just women, but men and athletes, and being able to tell my experiences. Especially, I think now I do mentor. I'm with a company called Bridge the Gap, that we mentor young kids that are struggling, that may be on report or just kind of on the brink of, you know, potentially being kicked out of school, and sharing that love and that story with, especially with basketball, being able to, you know, coach them, show them a routine, show them a schedule. And these are all the things that I learned. And people always ask me like, oh, what are the things that you wish you knew earlier? And I think one of them is a schedule. I think being able to have a diary, what's my week look like? Where am I having to put most of my energy to? And that's what I really also teach my kids. Okay, where's your planner? Where do you need homework? Where are you going to practice? Where are you going to, you know, spend time on the PlayStation or whatever? So that's kind of like, yeah, I just think it, you know, more and more as you grow older and you hear all the like typical sayings of you bring a horse to water but you can't, you know, make it drink, or leopard can't fix its spots. There's all these different sayings, and you think, oh, okay. But as you grow older and with more experience, you understand why those things have been said, and that's it. I think the stories are bringing them to the table, bringing them to experience moments with everyone. So yeah, that's it really. I think it's just kind of sharing, and I'm so open to share, and I think athletes, and especially basketball players, for people who are growing up or people to look up to, they're really accessible. You can talk to a basketball player after a game, you can message them on Instagram, you can see them at a signing or something like that, or at the game and wave, and they wave back or sign. They're touchable, where some sports you can't. And that's what's really nice, and that's what I always promote when I speak at panels or whatever, is if you have a question, you know, send it to me, ask me, and I'm more than happy to share or help them wherever I can.
That's why then when I met you, you were really approachable, very kind, and you didn't straight away say, who are you? Like, what do you want?
Yeah.
Obviously the environment helped. Maybe on the street would be a bit different, but I don't look threatening, so I think it might have worked. But you were really approachable, really friendly, and you were curious and say, okay, tell me about it more and let's connect. And I can see that angle that you just described. And you just mentioned one of the strengths of being organized or scheduling. Is there anything else you think?
What to help?
You could bring to this table. Let's say maybe share with me or share to the audience one of your key strengths, let's say, that helps you to succeed in your career.
I think something that I learned in my 20s was leaving. So say if you're having an issue at home, it could be anything. It could be boyfriend, girlfriend, it could be mum and daddy problems, whatever it is, right? You don't want to get it seasoning, you want to be able to leave it at the door and then go into work and not let that problem affect you. So I learned that in my 20s, is to close the door on life's issues and then get into work and just be focused for that 2 hours to 5 hours, whatever it is. So that really helped me. But then coming out of retirement, And then going into my 30s, I was able to see, actually, I need to learn how to put another door for my basketball. So put a door in place where I would come in, focus on basketball, but then walk out that door and close the door. And now I'm in my family energy and vibe. I don't need to be a leader. I don't need to be a winner. I don't need to boss people around. We don't need to win a championship at home. And so I think that lesson of putting a door, leaving them outside, concentrating on basketball, your job, let's say for, the corporate world, enjoying your work, and then putting the second door, which I learned in my 30s, leaving work and not bringing work home. And that's what you need to learn as you get older. But if you can learn this younger, that you're like, okay, there's more to basketball. It's not just gonna, I can't be upset because we've lost and now I'm taking it home and now I'm taking it out on my mum or my partner or my friends because we lost this game and I don't want to talk to you. So it was this learning of this kind of separation, and that is what's been key.
It's amazing that I just put you on the spot and you brought that, and it's absolutely amazing because I have my version of this the same. You call it door, I have compartments. I don't know why, I almost like imagine like a bee's
nest,
the honeycomb,
yeah,
and it's got little compartments. So when you make them bigger, you can see the compartments. So this is work, this is friendship, relationship, home, whatever. How many compartments you have. I worked in corporate environment, and if people do bring something from their home, you sense their energy. You sense in the meetings, you sense how they're feeling. And it's a real skill, I think, to close the door and open another one once you step in through different motions in your day. And it's an amazing one because I actually never spoken to anyone on the show yet. So the fact that you just wrote this up and explained it. How do you think, let's say people, it's quite hard, it's in terms of controlling your emotions. What would be your advice? Let's say you had a really bad day at work, but you come home to a loving home where kids waiting for you and you want to run in. What to do to switch that off and leave that door behind?
Well, I think especially if you have kids, it makes it easier because they don't know and they don't care.
Yeah.
Frankly. So that makes it easier, but oh my gosh, I'm excited.
Well, I'm going to cool down before you start eating because
I'm ready to eat now.
I don't want you to burn on the show.
Yeah, so what would I kind of recommend? I think it is that kind of door understanding of like, I'm in the house now. They don't know that I've had a bad day and they don't deserve to be taken out on.
That's
like
lovely.
For me to give them a hard time. So I think that's really important. I don't have kids, so I'm quite, I wouldn't say selfish.
But it's not a bad word anymore, really.
No.
Selfish is actually looking after yourself.
Yeah, which is something that is the more you say no, is the more you're saying yes to yourself.
That's
and
right.
So I find myself saying yes to a lot of things. So what I've tried to do is this thing important? Is this thing going to help me? Or is this thing going to help them? So I think saying yes to certain things, I think obviously coming home, putting that door in place and what's important and what's valued in your growth, in what you want to do. And that really helps me.
And how do you think, just before I serve cooling taco,
yes,
how do you think basketball and being disciplined, and I know there will be another message that will slowly weave you into it, but being disciplined and having a certain goal to be in Olympics or to win world championships, how do you think now, as you retired, is helping you with the mindset to move through your life?
Well, I actually think it's kind of like the other way around now, where I've been so disciplined. My friends take the mick out of me and call me Big Ben, which obviously I'm tall, but I'm always on time. I'm always scheduled. I'm always, I think time for me is a real respect part of my life, to show like I respect your time, I'm here. But I just don't know. It's quite, it's difficult with transitioning from now an athlete now onto the other side, and as a basketball player. But I think the scheduling, the time to show respect,
The discipline.
the discipline is really important. But at the same time, I think as I aged, it was letting it go. Like, as long as I had prepped, as long as I had given it my hardest, as long as I had played as hard as I called it like sleep well at night. If you know you've played really well, and even if you lost, same thing in the corporate world, right? If you've done all you can, if you've done your best, then you're happy. But sometimes you don't get the win. Sometimes you don't get the job. But you know in your heart that you've tried really hard.
And you get the lesson.
And you got the lesson.
Perfect. So,
oh my gosh, okay.
It's quite hot.
Yes.
I am going to serve you here so you can pop it on your plate.
Yes.
I'll pop it this way.
Okay.
Can reach. So we have sour cream in there. The beef and cheese, just a simple cheddar cheese grated. It's, if you say, I know I'm weaving you in now again into the third mindset message, because we're talking about the food and the nutritional aspect. And I'm one of those people who do not really do diets. I don't do diets.
I don't do diets.
I love that you're doing that, because I was going to go dip with the thing, but you're just doing your version, which is great, wonderful.
Okay. Sorry.
I don't know. That's wonderful. Just please do that. And I don't do diets, so I always wanted to make sure I have the opportunity to eat all the foods, but also feel good in my body and physically and emotionally. And having that balance, I think it's a skill. And it's a skill to master for sure, because I always wanted to be like, I don't want to be on a diet and then go back into it and then lose it, because I'll feel like that previous try was a failure. And then, so that I don't want to be on diet all my life, because I love food too much. So finding that balance was probably one of my things that many years ago, probably 20 years ago, I started focusing. I eat a lot of food. I eat a lot, and I love food, and I love fried food, raw food, vegan, all sorts. So this is fried tacos essentially. I put on olive oil and a bit fried it. But what happens is you have this here, your appreciation, the way you eat as well, really important. Maybe next day you will have a salad, or maybe next day you will have less chance to even eat and you're really busy. So it's all about finding balance. So I know you haven't tried it yet, but please give it a go, try. And I'm going to read your third message, which I think will connect everything here really nicely. I love this. Connect the food and the journey. Please tell me more about it.
Yeah, I think, like you said, about diets and stuff like that, I think we know when we've been bad. You know, I've never weighed myself. I think I weighed myself through the Olympics. I think I was super strict through the Olympics. I gave up sugar, I gave up alcohol, I gave up the foods that I loved, and it became super simple. But you know, when your favorite pair of jeans fit right, or your favorite pair of jeans don't fit right, you don't need to get on a scale. You know when you've been bad, you know, when you've eaten the whole pack of the biscuits, and so for me, it's more about moderation and understanding. And I've spoken about this before, of if I got ready for an Olympics again, I wouldn't do it the same way I did. And mind you, it was a long time ago. It was 2012, where I just sacrificed everything. I just thought, I don't need it. I don't need, if I want to have my body in the best shape, I need to do this. Where really, food is happiness. I'm sorry. If I was going to do it again, I would eat, but just with moderation. I would have these 2 tacos and be done. Where in my retirement life, I probably have 4 or 5. But and you just, I can't say it enough. Food is happiness. And I remember, and there's this funny story that my best friend, and I didn't know that you could boil chicken at this time, right? This is 2012. That you could boil chicken, where people boil chicken usually to kind of
make a broth.
Broth, or kind of grate it up. Shredded. Thank you. Shredded up for a soup or a broth. Yeah. Right. But we were eating boiled chicken whole.
Wow.
Right. Yeah. No flavor, no seasoning. And I remember just sitting down and I started crying. And my teammate and my best friend at the time, Lauren, she goes, "Go to the room now. We're not going to have you cry." And I was like, and I just sheerly just started to cry in tears. And I was so upset just because I was eating boiled chicken, which isn't a serious thing. But you then see the journey and the story of how the happiness of food, where if that was this meal right now, of I'm just having 2 tacos, it's, you know, it's made with love, it's roasted for 10 hours, it's seasoned well, you know, the journey, the discussion, the story, then you're like, I can have these 2 and I'm done, you know. And I think, and I think that was it. And I think she sent me to my room and I was like, right. And I was in my room, it was like, I'm just so unhappy, I just want food. And so if I trained for an Olympics again, it would be with moderation, but I would still I would do the tequila, no soda. I would probably do, you know, a soda water, but not a Sprite or a Coke. I would do the tacos, but not 5 or 6 of them. I'm doing 2 of them, and just kind of learning and not eating the whole pack of sweets. I'm having 2 or 3 and then putting them back. It causes for very, you've got to be, you know, strict and
willpower.
Yeah, willpower. That's exactly it. But it doesn't mean you can't have that. And I think that was what I talked about, the journey and learning that back in 2012, and now it's completely different.
That's wonderful. Boiled chicken example. I could not have put any better, because the boiled chicken, however pale grey it looks, I think it kills everything, your enjoyment of food. And the fact that you got to experience that part makes you even appreciate the food even more. You know, and I know this is probably tasting better because of that boiled chicken memory that you have.
Wow, this is fantastic.
It's beautiful example. I literally absolutely buzzing about this example, because it shows quite a lot how much food interferes with our life, with our journey. And I always encourage people to just cook something from scratch. Don't be afraid to season. Don't be afraid to use oil. Don't be afraid to use sauces. Just make it fun. It's almost like a festival of everything. And I do a lot of cooking without any recipes, because I'm not really good at following recipes. I don't know where it is. I haven't discovered. Maybe some disease. I just can't follow recipes. So I just looked at this recipe and it had maybe 25 ingredients. And I was like, you kidding me? But I looked through them and I know they had measurements against each ingredient, and I did not do measurements. I chucked all in. I made it fun. And I promise it's always going to work out. And I think the connecting your food, which is our life source, which is our everything in your journey, whatever you do, whether you are training for something. And I know people who are training for something, they're already quite sharp in their mind and they know their nutrition really well. But if you want to start something and you want to start cooking from scratch and feeling good without having any competition ahead or being a professional basketball player, you still can do it really by just doing simple things, incorporating seasoning, spices, sauces, and not having that boiled chicken experience is at all costs.
It's awful.
It's awful.
Yeah, where this is, you know, like you said, and that's what I said at the top of the show, of just like, I appreciate the love, the 10 hours. You know, people don't have that time. So one, thank you very much.
In the morning before school, I was like chucking in.
And this the first taste, my taste buds.
Was it good?
I know you said you don't have to eat. I'm like, I'm eating. If we're gonna do it, I'm gonna have it and enjoy it. So thank you so much. And it just tastes lovely. And if I had this in the Olympic Games, I think you don't realize the mental of the happiness that food brings. But you spoke about just the stories, like, you know, around dinner table, and I didn't have a dinner table per se at my house, but we had like we ate together on the sofa, we watched TV, but we told the stories, we enjoyed food. And you know, at my best friend's house, we eat at the table, no phones, talk about our day, and really the I guess the love, but also the stories, but also like the culture, and able to share around the table, and food is what really makes humanity, I guess, or really makes the amazingness of it. And yeah, I really appreciate you. So thank you. I
So it's right up your street.
Yeah,
right up your street.
When you said, "Oh, I want to cook for you," I have a cook. I said, "What?
What?
Of course you can. I'll be there."
Seriously, you're just one of those perfect guests that I have. By the way, she was really helpful. So you've been quite a lot on television, and you were seeing behind the scenes quite a lot in your life and your experience. So she was really helpful and trying to set up all the cameras and saying, "Is my microphone on?" I would love all my guests to remind me if my microphone is on.
Well, I'm in TV, right? And so when you're doing a live show, it's quite difficult. But when you're doing, you know, a moment like this, it's quite enjoyable to just actually enjoy what you're doing, and it's beautiful. It's so nice.
More relaxing. So please have a few more bites because there's another two types of there's another 2 tacos coming of the vegetarian type. I love vegetarian food, and I wouldn't be able to eat vegetarian all the time. I'm a carnivore. I love different things, but vegetarian in my life kind of says, okay, let's just have some more vegetables in my life. And there are certain vegetables I don't like eating raw, but roasted or cooked, or let's say courgette with grated Parmesan cheese in the air fryer. Oh, it's absolutely delicious. And just little moments of kind of spiciness or cheese or anything that you like adds a layer that actually makes you want to eat it. So what I've done, this is just warming up. I have also roasted Romanesco cauliflower. The reason I'm being all fancy Romanesco, I actually have seen in the shop this cauliflower that looks like a bit of broccoli, a bit of cauliflower kind of concoction. And I roasted it with garlic powder, chili, cumin, I said chili, lemon juice, salt, pepper, olive oil. I chucked it all in and roasted it. You could add Parmesan cheese if you would like additional flavor. Roast it all in the air fryer, and this will form the basis of the vegan tacos. I also have cabbage, and the cabbage is one of my favorite, actually very underrated vegetables, but I can do loads of things. I can make cabbage pancakes, slow sauerkraut. I use it in various stews as a salad. You can make it with creamier sauce. In this version, there is only lime here, salt, and this will also come together with the tacos that I'm going to give to Azania right now. So these are corn tacos, which I really like more than wheat tacos. They're more traditional Mexican to me, that are made from corn, and it has that corn kind of aroma in the air. You can sense it. What I will do this because this is the kind of like the base, but this will have to be eaten right away, because if this sits here for a while, the tacos, because it's so soft, it starts melting through and it starts dripping. So the same way it drips very quickly if I moisten the taco too much. And what I will do, I am going to add a bit of cauliflower in here. Proper vegetarian. You will have all your 5 a day in here. And it's slightly, so when you toast it a little bit longer, it slightly becomes like a harder taco shell. And I was just going to ask you actually now, and I know you're not a fan of too much spicy food, but I'll give you a couple of jalapenos.
Yeah.
Some cabbage. Can you tell me, why did you choose tacos?
I think they're quite, people underestimate how easy they are, but how good they are.
Yeah.
Also, I love Mexico. I spent a lot of time in Tulum. England doesn't do tacos very well.
Yeah.
We don't really explore the Mexican food, where I've just been on holiday in America, and obviously there's a big influence of Mexican kind of
food,
influence. And I love it. So I was like, ooh, I think I want you to make me tacos. And you replied and was so excited about it. And I was like, perfect. Also, I love tequila. So, okay, let me try this.
Give it a go.
This is all veggie, right?
Yeah, that's all vegetarian and sour cream. I mean, it's almost vegan, but I use sour cream. If anyone is vegan, you can easily replace with a vegan white sauce, for example, vegan yogurt, or even a kind of like a Oatly. There's Oatly yogurt they do, which is Greek yogurt, which you can add Greek yogurt in there. So it's quite a few options. And I know there is vegan mayonnaise, which I actually tried before, and it's not too bad at all. So can do vegan very easily. And the cabbage. Yes. So I'm actually quite impressed. This is probably one of my first guests who actually embracing eating on the camera, and I am loving it because it's you actually now able to see that my food maybe tastes actually really good. So thank you so much for giving me the opportunity.
I want to eat. I want to feel the energy and to enjoy the flavors while we talk.
So
this has got a little bit of a spice to it, but I like it.
Good. Go ahead. You will have margarita. What I'll do, I'll finish off with one more beef tacos on the pan, cooked on the pan. Is there anything else you want to tell before I wrap this up? Because I was really inspired by your journey, your ambition, and you actually, I know what I want to ask. You currently do, it's quite giving, quite charitable, quite passionate.
Thank you.
How was this born in the first place?
Oh, wow. Thank you very much. That's really a lovely...
Sorry, putting you on the spot always.
No, that's a lovely question and a lovely way to describe me. I guess my parents, I came from two... my parents are both Rastafarians, like the spiritual kind of... I didn't come from a religious background, but I came from a caring, good karma... you get what you give back, and I think that's what's important for me. Obviously, now that I'm at an age where what I'm giving are gems, right? I could charge a lot of money for this, but there's some things that I make sure that I do to give back, to keep going back to our first thing, right? The story, the journey. And there's some things in my life that I'm like, no, this is really important to me. This is something that I want to do. And and I think also not only women in sport, but women in general, when they have their own business, when they're an entrepreneur, just kind of showing that support. So I really appreciate that, because I do take pride in my friendships. I take pride in giving people back the love that I've had in my childhood or through my career. So I think that's where it comes from, is being, like I said, when you first asked me, I want to cook for you. I don't think anyone's asked me to, to cook for me and to share and have a conversation. So I love this concept. I thought it was a beautiful idea, and just so appreciative of the love through food, the love through conversation, and this is what are big key factors of my, my journey, how I move, how I want to be known as. So you're very similar in that, but just in the kitchen, where I'm an athlete on the court, you're an athlete in this space. So we're very similar like that.
I guess I'm lucky to hit a foodie.
We're foodies. Yeah, that's it too. We're foodie champions.
That's obviously my luck. Thank you so much for sharing your story, for coming here, being who you are. Incredible. Your energy is beautiful, and please keep sharing your story. Keep sharing all the things that you've learned. I really appreciate that. I appreciate you being here. And I hope you enjoyed the conversation as much as I did. And I absolutely love cooking, because you are extremely complimentative. So thank you.
You're welcome.
This made me feel so much better about all the food. And enjoy watching as much as I did. And thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.